Have you ever noticed how easy it is to scroll endlessly, watch one more video, consume one more thing? And that's because we've been training our whole life for it and we've become numb. 2 years ago, I decided to flip the script. I went from being a consumer to being a producer. I decided to train my mind, to train my brain, to love creating. And ever since then, my mind and my life and my habits and my identity and everything has changed. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did everything and why it happened. So take this video as an opportunity to fully relax, to focus on one thing at a time, to train your dopamine system and consume with intention. So I'm going to walk you through how I trained my mind to create instead of consume and how it changed everything. So if you're new here, subscribe to the channel and let's go to part number 1. The problem. You see, without realizing, society has conditioned you to be a consumer. You've been trained for years to enjoy consuming more than creating. So in school, you just memorize things, you repeat them, and then you don't even create. With social media, there's infinite input and zero output. Pretty much everything around you, from school to social media to the influences in your life, they've just made you feel like consuming is the way to go. You see, everything in your life from a young age, from the influences, from the people in your life, from school, from social media, everything has trained you to consume. And you didn't actually choose this. This was just built into your environment. You see, the reason why consuming feels so addicting is because consumption makes you feel like you're progressing. Consumption feels like progress, but it actually isn't. It's fake progress. You see, unfortunately, watching productivity videos is not being productive. Talking about doing the thing, thinking about doing the thing, writing about how you're going to do the thing, planning doing the thing is not doing the thing. You see, learning without applying is just intellectual entertainment. It feels good right now, but it's not going to feel good later. Now let's talk about the numbness problem. You see, we all remember the times where we're just like, we want to do something, and then all of a sudden, like, minutes go by and you're deep into Instagram Reels, you're just scrolling, and you forget what you even wanted to do. You see, constant input just destroys your creativity. It destroys your ability to think. You see, no boredom equals no creativity. The secret to training yourself and conditioning yourself to actually create more than you consume is by introducing boredom into your life. So in a way, it sounds funny, but you have to train yourself to be bored. You have to give yourself space to think, to reflect. You have to sit by yourself for 10 to 15 minutes every single day and just let yourself destimulate. Let your dopamine return to baseline. Take a deep breath and just relax. Because with constant consumption, with social media, with scrolling, with entertainment, and all these things that we are surrounded by, there's just constant influx of input. So the art of boredom, the art of literally just sitting by yourself and doing nothing. It's such a simple concept, but it's also such a powerful thing. Like, I just always remember that when I'm feeling a bit stressed, when I'm feeling a bit like overwhelmed, when I'm overthinking, I just need to destimulate. I just need to return back to baseline, and that changes everything. So your brain never gets space to think, to connect ideas, to innovate something new. And that is why you have to come in and step in and allow your brain to open up to creation. That's what has helped me so much in the past when I was switching from consuming to creating. And the nice thing about making this switch is that the more you create, the less you consume. So just by creating, just by, what does creating even mean, right? Making videos, making art, making music, writing down your goals, planning the future, going for a run, training martial arts, training calisthenics, working on new moves, working in sales, innovating, creating new ideas, cooking, writing, journaling. All of these are forms of creation. Now, there are so many other forms of creation, but that's just the list that came to mind. And if you focus on implementing creation into your life, then everything's going to change. That is such an important part, but it's not yet complete. I'm going to talk about it more in the second part of this video. So before we get into that, here is a big sign that you are a consumer. Number 1, you spend too much time on social media. Number 2, you doom scroll. You care about influencers and online people and like random people's lives more than your own. You have a couple days in the week where you're just not feeling right. You're feeling a bit overwhelmed. You feel like you have a lot on your plate and you feel burnt out. And the final sign is you just feel like you're making no progress. You feel like you're stuck in these same cycles of procrastination, the same cycles of scrolling and time wasting. And your goals are there, but you're just not making the effort to get there. So those are signs that you are a consumer instead of a producer. Now we're gonna dive exactly into how I made the switch and how you can too. So if you watch my videos, it means that you are part of the top 1%. So if you're liking these videos, then subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 100K. I'm really excited. Let's go to part number 2, the training. So here's everything I did, every mindset shift, every physical change I did to switch from consumer to creator. You see, small things create the most change. This is a fundamental principle that will change your life. This is Atomic Habits at its foundation. You see, one paragraph, one idea, one clip, one push-up. So the key here is to start small and think big. And there's a rule that I always like to follow. It goes like this: create before you consume. In the day, in every single day, you cannot consume. You cannot open Instagram. You cannot open your phone and social media and watch videos before you've created something yourself. This is a rule that trains your dopamine system to enjoy creating more than you consume. And this is a very important shift because as long as you are consuming all the time or before creating, then your dopamine just wants to consume. Your mind is just gonna find way more pleasure in consuming rather than creating. And one mindset shift that really changed everything for me goes like this. I started to change my identity. I started to change the self-image and see myself as a person who creates. And 2 years ago, when I started posting these videos, I actually had a lot of bad habits. I was lazy, I procrastinated, I had a screen time of like 11 hours at times, and my life was not in order. So what I did there was, as soon as I started posting YouTube videos, talking about self-improvement, about discipline and all this stuff, I started to hold myself accountable. I started to build that identity and see myself as a person who creates rather than consumes. And as a result, my screen time actually went from 11 hours to 5 hours after 3 months, and then it dropped to 4 hours. And then ever since then, my screen time has been really low. And the biggest thing that has changed over here is just your identity. Like the way I see myself has changed, and that's why my life has changed. If you want to change, if you want to make a change in your life, you need to start seeing yourself differently. You need to start doing different things. You need to start changing the way you view the world, the way you view your goals, and the way you respond to everything. So the second thing that I've done to switch from consumer to creator is that I started to use platforms as tools instead of entertainment. Now I see my phone not as entertainment, not as a toy, but as a tool. For me, YouTube is not just about watching and consuming random content, but it's also about learning and educating myself around certain topics. It's also about posting. And for me before, Instagram was just somewhere I would go to brain rot, just to doom scroll for hours, forget about my problems. But I made the switch where I started to see Instagram as a tool. Now I use Instagram to get creative inspiration, to find out what content I want to make, to get inspired, to learn things, to reach out to people, to create and build my network. So it is this subtle switch going from using a platform as just like pure entertainment with no purpose to using the platform for an intended purpose. And the third thing that has helped me immensely is this. I got comfortable being bad. And here's what I mean. I was okay being imperfect, right? The first videos, the first ideas, the first newsletter that I would write, everything was bad, right? The first of anything is going to be suboptimal. It's going to be low quality, but that's okay. That's part of the process. And if you're okay with that, and if you can push through that, then your life will change. It is about taking consistent action at the very start, like even though you're probably going to be bad at something. There's a quote that I love. A bad workout is always better than a skipped one. And there's another quote that goes like this. Bad reps are the price of good ones. Now, when you realize that you're going to have to go through creating in a bad way to become that creator that you want to be. If you're making videos, if you're making music, if you're making art, if you're painting, if you're working on whatever you're working on, whatever you're creating, if you're a business person, then everything at the start, you're going to be bad. You're going to have no experience. You're going to have no confidence, but you just build step by step. And eventually you start to enjoy the process. So down below, comment change and then one thing you are going to change in order to shift from being a consumer to being a creator. Part number 3, a living piece of art. So you have to start viewing life like this and it's gonna change everything. You are the art and life is your piece. If you think about a painting, right? There are 2 elements of the painting. There is number 1, there's the canvas, and number 2, there is the paint. Everything that was used to make the painting. So think about you and life like this. You are the paint and life is the canvas. You start off with a blank canvas. Nothing is given to you. Success is not handed to you. You start off from scratch and you use your mindset, you use your knowledge, your persistence, and your mindset to just build the success that you want, to make an absolute masterpiece out of what you were given. So start treating yourself like you are working on a painting. Getting better, getting healthier, getting wiser, improving your relationships, improving your mindset, improving your life. And think of every habit, every thought, and every action like a brushstroke. Like being one step closer to having that masterpiece in front of you. That masterpiece painting that you've always dreamt of. And at the end of the day, it is self-respect. You're not gonna rush the painting. You get one chance, you get one canvas. So you're not gonna rush the painting and put random stuff on it. You are gonna approach everything, every habit, every thought, and every action, and every routine as if it is irreversible, because it is. So respect yourself like you would respect a noble painting, like a piece of art. So why do you tolerate bad inputs? Why do you tolerate random consumption? And why do you tolerate low standards? All it takes for you to finally make the switch, to become a creator, to change your life, to fix all of your habits and your identity is one simple perspective shift. I want you to write this down right now. I want you to write down, life is the canvas and I am the painter. And from today, from this point that you're watching, I don't know whatever time it is. Right now it is 11:48 a.m. as I'm recording this. Whatever time it is as you're watching this, I want you to just take a step back, take a deep breath, and realize that from today, from this point moving forward, your life is going to change. Only because you decide to change the way you see life, the way you see your habits, the way you see yourself. And everything happens, everything starts to work out in your favor. You start to become the creator you always wanted to be. You stop being a consumer. When you realize that everything that enters your mind shapes your reality. So if you want to live a good life, if you want to have a good reality, then you're going to have to shape and change and filter your inputs. If you want a good life, you can't have bad inputs, and that's why you need to control what you consume. And I've also gotten to a point where right now I only consume for the purpose of helping me create. The only reason I watch any content at all, whether that's YouTube long form, sometimes I'll watch a few reels now and then, but the only reason I watch any type of content at all is just because it gives me inspiration, it gives me ideas for making my own work better. It helps me produce better content. And that's the only reason why. I don't watch and consume random content. I watch videos that align with who I want to be, the life I want to live, and the person I want to become. If I want to become a salesperson, I love sales. And if I want to become a salesperson, then my YouTube just has to be filled with, sales, how to get better at sales, high ticket closing, this and this and this. If I want to be a basketball player, then my YouTube home feed should be just full of how to get better at basketball, NBA, this and that, and like basketball. So whatever content you consume, number one, make the switch so you only consume content that aligns with your goals, your visions, and your aspirations. And then start creating more. Start tapping into your levels of creativity. Start the business, shoot your shot, take the leap of faith, do the thing that you always wanted to do. But that success that you want, that goal that you want to achieve, it doesn't happen by mistake. It is only going to work. It is only going to fall into place if you commit every single day. And the only way that I've found to do this is by just having accountability. And that's why me and my best friend from high school came together, joined forces to create Discipline OS, a place where you get to surround yourself with like-minded people, with people who are on the same path, working towards the same goals, so you can have that accountability, so you can change your life. It's a private community with 180 members just like you, who are just tired of falling back into their old ways, repeating the same cycles of procrastination, and they finally just want to change. So click the link in the description below, watch that video over there to unlock access. Take care, and you got this.